Hi everyone, I'm here to show you how to become an academic weapon whenever, wherever. Rather than watching 3 different videos, you can find all your answers here. I consider myself an academic weapon because I currently sit above average according to this grading scale we also use. I also log in frequently and I actually enjoy studying. Moving on. There are only 3 components you have to keep in mind throughout this video in order to achieve your goals of being a good student without draining yourself, also known as losing motivation or being too tired to do work. Those are motivation, organization, and execution. In order to become an academic weapon, you will need to utilize all 3 components or you will struggle to be an academic weapon, also known as a good student. Now, let's get started, clear your mind, and let's get ready for a mini self-reflection. Why do you want to become an academic weapon? Why are you motivated? Will it keep you going? Are you doing what you love? And can you change the outlook you have now? Now, those being said and asked, these are the questions you have to ask yourself. Motivation will keep a student going, so be less likely to burn out, also meaning as drained and tired to do study work. Tip number 1, let's not mistake goals for motivation. Personally, I dealt with an issue by rewarding myself with a whole mental day after exams, but in reality, that was holding me back because of the upcoming assignments I needed to do. I had no motivation to do them because the previous assignment was my motivation because it was my goal. So in reality, I asked myself, why am I doing this? Because, when you lack motivation, you're like, oh, why do I have to do it, right? I'm doing this because I want to live to my fullest potential. That means utilizing all my opportunities and dedicating myself to what I want to do and what I love, which is medicine. It is the pyramid of self-actualization, meaning you complete your basic needs and then you move up until you reach it. Right now, I'm at the very bottom with my education because, you need to complete each level until you can get there. Right. So I want to live to my fullest potential, which I believe is utilizing all the knowledge you have and doing what you love. If you love to be a zoologist, you love animals, go reach for it. That's the best thing you can do for yourself. If you love concrete, be a construction worker, but don't settle. You can always go to school. You can always utilize, you can always mentor or be mentored. That's the ultimate goal. Tip number 2, make sure you are taking accountability. Before and after I go to bed, I make sure to tell myself why I'm doing this, my motivation, right? Since we got that out of the way, you gotta make sure what you're doing is what you love. If you're an adult, taking an accountability is a part of motivation. It is your job to figure out what you want to do in life, whether that's through jobs, clubs, internships, etc. In that field, you should be actively gaining knowledge, going out of your way to ask people, make connections. It is not time to be nonchalant. It is the time to lock in. This will boost your motivation. It might even save you from some heartache. Tip number 3. Now that we found your motivation, it is time to work on your outlook on life. Your mindset needs to shift to a positive one and avoiding a negative one. Meaning, if you think a school is hard and draining, it is going to be draining, right? You're setting that into the universe. You're basically manifesting it. Instead, be more positive, right? If you're more negative, you're going to lead to more passive learning, which means you're just not going to retain the information long term. And if you're motivated, positive, ready to review, you're going to hold that information better. Pace yourself so you don't lose yourself. If you lose yourself, you lose your motivation. And then if you lose your motivation, you can't live to your fullest potential. Now that you have your motivation, you're positive, in order to back that up, you need some organization. I can say myself that I am very messy. I'm type B, very type B. But the one thing I don't play with is when I need to get things in. Being well organized will help you stay on top of your assignments, decide what you need to prioritize, and sets you up for success in a timely manner. Tip number 1, Google Calendar. First, place down the times you know you will be unavailable, such as class. Put those down. This is helpful because you will know when you are available and unavailable for class, study, work, and clubs. Tip number 2, the Canvas app. I highly suggest you download the Canvas app on your phone so you can simply check the calendar within the app to see if anything is due. Tip number 4, put paper over your notes and then boom, there's your flashcards. Because if you're spending time making your flashcards instead of actively doing them, This can lead to more time being wasted than productive. Be aware of your time. Always do your assignments before studying, because studying will always be there, but extensions will not. You do not want to fall behind. Start studying right after class. Go through notes again and get a feel for them, and then start doing active recall. Tip number 5, I repeat, do not start studying for an exam 2 days before the exam. If I'm saying 2 days, does that mean like an all-nighter or the night before? No, don't even bother. 2 days, even more. You should actually be quite incrementing them every single day after class, just going over them, behind them, asking yourself questions, and making these connections. If you cram, you will not feel confident. Do as much work in the classroom or on campus before you go home. Because tip number 6, keep track of your time. Even a simply grocery run can be detrimental to your study time. I remember thinking grocery runs were 30 minutes max. No, they can take up to hours now, even including traffic and etc. And then they will push your studying time more further back. Don't do that. Make the appropriate sacrifices in your life. Think strategically. Let's say you're doomed, like I am making this video right now, and you forgot there's 2 assignments due tonight. I suggest doing the one that's worth more. However, if it's very long, worth more, it's not worth it, because then you still have to ask for an extension and see if you even granted it. Try to do the one that's shorter, turn that baby right in, and then go plead for mercy from the other teacher. When you plead for mercy, I highly suggest doing it as quickly as you can and getting it in. I usually, if I see that I'm late, I will turn it in 2-3 in the morning, and usually they accept it because it's no different than 2 to 3 hours later. But some will punish you out of just, punishment, because, they're right. So always try to keep track of your time. That's why I say download the Canvas app to double check and notify you. Do what is best for you. For example, if you know you're not going to be able to do it and you need to know which assignment to sacrifice, there's this tool on Canvas. I will show right next to me. Well, basically you will put in your grades, right? This will only work on an iPad or a laptop. You put in and see what your grade will calculate to. So let's say I put in 100% on this assignment. Done. What's the bare minimum grade I can get on it to still keep my grade at a standstill? That's what I like to do, but only if I'm in complete doom, because STEM majors, every point matters. So you still want to be actively trying to maintain a high A, because exams, they're usually most of your grade. So you want to try to gain as much points as possible. Okay, now that we're filling up our hierarchy right here, we got how to become an academic weapon, and then motivation, organization. It is time for execution. What does execution look like? So now that you have your motivation and organization, you're motivated, let's say you're done with class, how do I study? The 3 major components for studying would be flashcards, teaching, and active recall. Tip number 1, being in the teacher mindset. Being in the teacher mindset basically means coping with the information first and then applying it later. For instance, in chemistry, you don't really know why. It's more like how. In chemistry, it's harder to grasp the overall concept of mixing 2 solutions than figuring out your, visibly imagining it. It's really hard. So first you want to start with the nitpick details and then coping with that. For instance, charges. Why is there charges on, neutral atoms? Don't even bother. If you stress yourself out, stress will just lead to, losing motivation, and don't worry yourself like that. Just cope with the information, and then you'll see the overall picture down the line. Tip number 2, learn what type of learner you are. Realistically, this should be number 1, but learn. For example, are you a visual learner, auditory learner, or a spatial learner? Visual is you have to see the actual images like this. Or auditorium, you have to be told it. Or you can be a spatial, which you need the overall picture first, which is most likely pictures. You draw them out and then you on the whiteboard. For example, I was in the study group for psychology, right? And this whole time, me and this dude were trying to get the difference between hypothesis and theory. And we tried everything. We tried active recall, memorization, writing it down and down. I had him try to repeat it back to me over and over, and he still didn't get it. Turns out he was a visual learner. So we had him write pictures on the board, and then that's when he started to grasp that idea. It can save you a lot of time wasted if you know what type of learner you are. So for example, create mental images, then actively say them aloud to help you. That is active recall. Drawing it out and then saying it is also helpful. because it is learned that if you dual encoding theory is true. I'll put it right here. If you create mental images and then verbally say it, somatic coding, you will be more likely to learn it in overall. You see what I did there? Making connections between what I learned in my classes, something you should be actively doing. Tip number 3, utilizing flashcards. Chemistry, psychology, and biology all have to do with formulas, definitions, and dates, right? Flashcards can be the most helpful, most useful. If you're an auditory learner, practice saying it aloud on both sides of the flashcard before and after watching the lecture. It can help you retain it. An auditory learner, practice saying the definition before and after the flashcard after watching a lecture. If you do not like using your flashcards like me, if you do not like making flashcards like me, I use GoodNotes. They have this feature where you get to cover up parts of your notes and then simply tapping it will reveal the answer. This is very efficient for me, so I don't spend time doing that. Tip number 4, teaching. If you cannot teach a subject, you do not know it. Teaching allows a student to explain the whole picture as well as minor details that matter. For example, in my study group, we have everyone doing a problem such as a double displacement reaction, also known as a precipitate reaction. Then I will have them explain back to us what they just learned. Not only will they see the flaws in their thinking and their strengths, but we can see what the other students are thinking as well, their mindset, because we don't want someone arriving to an answer with illogical thinking. So we all arrive at the same answer with the same mindset. For anyone who is scared to start a study group, don't be. All you have to do is ask the people around you how they did on the exam or how they're doing in the class. Usually people who are more successful in the class don't like to be in a study group, but you just gotta push them. You're like, oh, we're having fun, really, or we're very focused. It just depends on the person, and don't be disheartened if someone rejects you. I get rejected all the time, especially for chemistry, but a lot of people did join and they actually do feel productive in that class. Tip number 5, active recall. Before studying, you should write down the main concepts of your class/slides down, and then under those, write down specific details you remember. For example, if you don't remember the concepts on the top of your head, go through your slides and go through the lecture and write down the main topic, like the overall concept they're talking about. Write those down, and without looking or hearing the details, write down immediately what you remember. Then, once you do that, you go through the slides and then the lecture to see what you're missing or what you're weak in. Then you can fill in those gaps. For example, in chemistry, the main overall concepts would be stoichiometry, mole ratio, and the solubility rules. I would write these as headers, and then under those, I will write down specific details of what I remember, then going back in to see what I'm missing. So, now that we have our motivation, organization, and execution, what do these all look like in a day in the life, right? This is a day in life on a typical Monday. I have 3 classes on one day. Just by looking at this, I know I need 8 hours of sleep. Everyone should be getting 8 hours of sleep, by the way, to be the most productive. So I would want to be asleep by 10 and wake up at 6. Then I remind myself when I wake up, my motivations. So I take some time to get ready. So you see how 6 and 8:30 my class starts. I take 2 hours to get ready and mentally cope. Even on the way to school, I look over those slides to see what I'm getting myself into. However, you notice how I have 2 hours in between each class, right? I can be productive and go over slides. Or I don't usually do clubs, but if you do clubs, you can do clubs within that time frame. Since you made that organization Google Calendar, you can sign up for clubs that fit into your schedule. In between classes, I love to check Canvas to see if I miss anything or if I see if my grades have updated. Since I check the calendar and I know I don't have assignments to do, I won't feel pressured to do assignments. And when you don't feel pressure, that equals low stress levels. In that study group, we utilize the teaching method. After 8 p.m., I have 2 hours to relax and enjoy my time, finish assignments, get ready for bed, doom scroll for a little bit, and then you'll be on your way to a good night's rest. Now that I have shown you how to use all 3 components in a day, it is time for you to implicate this into your own routine. Now don't forget, motivation, organization, and execution. Now, goodbye, academic weapons.